Hi, it's Nicholas, and yeah, I'm pretty. It's my pleasure to collaborate with the Taipei Entrepreneur Hub again. And this year, yeah, I'm very happy to focus on the topics on the Web3 and blockchain world. So I believe there are a lot of companies out there to do this kind of business model, this kind of innovations. And I think we are what we're trying to exactly figure that out in Taiwan's financial industry and collaborate to the Web3. It's really hard because all the regulation restriction. Maybe we can not do many things, but right now we're still on the trend to innovate all the new business model on top of financial services. As a head of blockchain in Cathay Financial Holdings, yeah, just let me open up my camera. And yeah, great to meet you guys. And I believe there is a lot of chances for both sides. Maybe we can just collaborate this year. And okay, just let me share my screen first. I believe there are a lot of courses and online workshop you guys have been doing like the whole week, because that's the last session, right? And I will make it quick and simple, and just let you guys know what we're trying to figure that out, what we're trying to looking for, uh, the new business for financial institution. Okay, so pitch contest workshops, I'm very glad to collaborate, and maybe there are very big chance and opportunities to meet you guys in person, like the end of October or the early of November. And yeah, it's Nicholas Young. I'm in charge of the blockchain team in Cathay Financial Holdings. So in the next content of my workshop, my online courses, my online sharing, I will be focusing on what kind of services on top of a blockchain that a financial institution needs, and what kind of new type of innovations we're trying to looking for, especially for financial services and non-financial services also. Before that, I just want to spend some time to introduce my team and how we just make our history very significant, because my team has been formed for the past 4 years, and like 4 years ago, we're trying to follow the no new technology. That's the only things we were doing. But the second stage, we're trying to make ourselves a lab into a product design and product making units. Then we can just recruit all the members on our own, because we are the very first person to know all the requirements or the needs for our competitors and for non-financial services partners. In the third stage, we're trying to build up a consortium on top of a blockchain. And I believe consortium blockchain is totally different from the public blockchain, especially for the governance, not for the technology or the mechanism. But there are off-chain and on-chain governance. So we're trying to do all the things digitalization. That's what we're doing for Cathay Financial Holdings. So the last stage and the bigger scope, we're trying to make an ecosystem on top of blockchain, but we're not trying to implement blockchain into anything, because that's not our goal. We're trying to filter all the things that doesn't need blockchain, and we're just focused on some things that really needs blockchain. And my team just have some roles. Actually, we just have the third role, a new one. One of that is a product manager. We design our product, we deliver our project, we implement our own technology, our own infrastructure on top of a blockchain. So we also need research and development. We have a lot of engineers working here. So the third role is like a business development, especially for the Web3 industry in the world. We are trying to expanding our non-financial services or financial services into other industry. So the business development is very important to us. I just want to get straight up to some points why and when we want to implement blockchain. Because as a financial institution, as you can see, we are the biggest centralized institution, centralized platform over the world. So why we exactly need blockchain? Because the digitalization, the whole process is pretty simple and plain. Because you just want to make everything like automation and easier and cheaper. But when we just bump into a situation like this, when we have some peers to collaborate, and we also need some transparent business logics, we need to share the business logics to our competitors. That's not quite often, but there is indeed some scenarios that we need to share this kind of business logics. The third one and the last one, maybe our competitors just want to keep the ledger, keep the data. If as is the case, Cathay as the biggest financial institutions in Taiwan, even if we just want to provide our centralized platform to let our competitors to store, upload, maybe request the data from my centralized platform, that wouldn't happen at all because we are the competitors. What if they just want to keep the same ledger, the same data? So that's the at this point. So blockchain can solve anything. We're trying to figure out the solutions for the political situation. It's not about the technology. So I think you guys are pretty aware of that. But how we just evaluate what kind of scenarios that really needs blockchain technology? The first is we're trying to figure out who the nodes are. The second one is what's the necessity, because the automation is not a necessity, and the governance is the necessity. The political issue is the necessity, and so forth. So we're trying to figure out what is the necessity. The third one is what can be put on chain, because due to some very tight regulations restriction, there are so many things we could not put it on the blockchain. So if we can just figure out all these three questions on our own, we won't do anything about blockchain to the scenario, especially for financial services. And how blockchain can help in financial institution, I think the first one is a very neutral and a very easy things to do. It's the mitigation of risk. We're not trying to make our revenue bigger and bigger. We're not trying to promise the things. Just tell our business units, our head of business units that, hey, you use the blockchain technology, you can make more money about what kind of percentage every year. That's not really practical. So mitigation of the risk is the neutral one and is easiest things to do. And the second one, I want to build trust between parties, especially for peers and competitors. I think there is a lot of scenarios we trying to collaborating with our competitors. That's indeed there is indeed some needs, especially in Taiwan and globally. So the third one is we just want to facilitate ecosystem. If we cannot maybe like build some connections with the competitors and non-competitors, like partnership, we couldn't facilitate the ecosystem as much as we can. You know, like the AI, like the deep learning system, this kind of technology can be implemented pretty well in one company, but the blockchain technology couldn't do that. If we don't have any other partnership out there, the whole mechanism won't work at all. So I just want to introduce our first practical and alive platform. It's our bank consortium. Our project goal is exchange data. The second one is, like I just mentioned, mitigating the risk. So the last thing is we want to build a connection with our competitors. Then we co-develop all the business model very innovative business model with each other, because that's why we can make more money, because we're still a bank, we're still an insurance company. I think the profit is pretty important to us. And like I said, the first scenario, the logic is right here. I just want to introduce the double financing detection, and we use the blockchain to execute this kind of process. First of all, I just want to say, right now we have 7 banks onboarding to Cathay Financial Holdings blockchain ecosystem and the mechanism. The infrastructure is totally implemented by our own team. We are not outsourcing any bit of it, because that can increase our flexibility. And once we just want to optimize it, we can do it on our own. But right now, I think this pitch contest is pretty important to both sides, from my side and from your side, because we are starting to leverage all the outsourcing and all the outside partner to complete all the ecosystem. We're not trying to do the things on our own all the time. That'll be our first stage. But the second stage, we need some partnerships. So I want to introduce the scenario to you guys. Then you can just figure out what kind of product that is what we're figuring out to implement. So, for example, there are 5 banks, and maybe there's a trading company. He just wanna use a document or invoice or purchasing order to apply a loan to our bank too, like it's a Cathay Bank. Then our operationist will put the serial number of the bill of lading onto our blockchain. So as you can see, all the bank's nodes, the data will be synchronized real time. Once the trading company just want a loan, may apply another loan with the same document in the bank for it, like there would be a Mega Bank or Sinopac Bank, the alert will just pop up, and that will allow the operationist to do a deeper, maybe like KYC, know your customer, and some due diligence, in the next stage. So that's why we're trying to exchange the data from our competitors, because right now authorities didn't make the centralized platform, allowing us to do that kind of a check or confirmation. But the authenticity will be challenged at all time. Once the trading company just he has fabricated the data, fabricated information on the bill of lading, then he just take this fake information, the bill of lading, to apply the loan. What we can do? So that's what we're doing. We directly straight up to connect the platform, our platform, with the shipping company, because shipping company issues the bill of lading. So we directly receive and retrieve the data from the shipping company. So the authenticity will be pretty firm. There wouldn't be that easier. You convince the shipping company to fabricate the data with the small and middle business trading company. That would be pretty hard. So that's how we are doing this. And the second case is our property insurance consortium. That would be pretty big in Taiwan, because that's the first insurance consortium that would be formed and built up by a private sector, like Cathay Property Insurance Company. As you can see, the project goal is totally the same as the bank consortium. Our project goal is one, the first is authority oversight, because the authority always want to retrieve some data for their oversight. They have their performance to keep. They want to just oversight all the financial services for our people. So the digitalization is pretty important, because that could just lower our cost to deal with some authorities oversight process. The second is the claim sharing. I will explain that later. And the third one is mutual insurance digitalization. Once all the property insurance company onboard into our blockchain, the mutual digitalization will be working. If we only just use our centralized platform separately, they could have been done at all. Our roadmap is like this. The step one is compulsory insurance recovery. The step two is car insurance compulsory recovery, because the compulsory recovery will be totally manual at the point like a year ago. So we want to digitalize that kind of very complicated and manual process, but we couldn't find a centralized platform to store and upload all the data. The data which should be shared by all property insurance company. And as you can see, the step 3 and step 4, there are also some mutual points, some mutual work process with competitors. Like the step 3, the HIB stands for Health Insurance Bureau. They could be that's also an insurance company, but it's run by government. They want to just doing the compulsory recovery, but it's pretty manual. So we're trying to recruit them on board, maybe in the next stage. But right now, we just successfully onboarding all the property insurance company of Taiwan. The 14 companies has been successfully onboarding to our blockchain, to our infrastructure. And the infrastructure is totally developed by our own team, the blockchain team of Cathay Financial Holdings. The claim sharing process is like this. As you can see the driver, there is a scenario like the 3 cars, they just bump into together, the accidents just happened. And the driver just want to claim its insurance. So in order to, we just make it pretty quick and convenient for the driver. Like the Cathay Central Insurance Company would pay all the money of the claim. The amount maybe is like $90. Cathay will pay the total amount to the driver at first stage. But the other 2 cars, the drivers, they should claim to their insurance to their separate insurance company. So maybe in the end of the month, every month, in the end of the month, Cathay Central Insurance Company will try to recover the 1/3 to like Taiwan Insurance Company. The other 1/3 amount will be recovered from the Cathay Insurance Company. And all the things, we just wanted to make it pretty quick and digitalized. But again, we don't have this kind of centralized platform to do the things. So every month, all the operationists, all the staff, they will carry the paper to the authority to exchange the paperwork all the time. And one case maybe include like 10 to 12 papers, but this kind of papers wouldn't be digitalized due to there is no such a co-work platform. So there's only maybe like government, they just lend us a place, so we can just exchange the data, exchange the paper once a month. So the claim recovery process is like this. The upper part is the traditional process. Like the first one, the first step, we use email and fax and phone. That's pretty stupid. So we need to mutually and manually confirm, hey, you guys, you have paid the money yet? If you're not, Cathay will pay the money first. But if Cathay Insurance pay the money first, Cathay wouldn't pay that at all. But Cathay will wait for Cathay to recover and apply the recovery in the end of the month. And the third one, like you can see the upper part, the middle part, then the operationist will use the post mails and people delivery, just like I said. End of the month, people will carry the papers, all the papers into a place that will be hosted by government, then exchange the papers. And so forth. You can see all the processes were pretty manual. But in the in the lower part, once we just make it on blockchain, and all those 14 property insurance company, they share the data onto their own nodes, but real-time synchronized to other insurance company, then we can change the data very digitalized, and we share the data at all time and real quick, and we query and we review all the data digitalize the data on the blockchain. Besides of the reviews and query and the synchronized on chain, we also can communicate with each other with our platform. There is some website, there's a platform for operationists to use. So one-stop blockchain process is right now really live platform. We've been going live for the past 6 months, and the cost and the efficiency is pretty good right now. And the third one, the project is Internet of Vehicles. We are actually a financial institution, but we are not trying to do only financial services on top of blockchain. So electric vehicles is one of our priority. We have much of interest on this sector. The project goal is we want to give back the data to drivers. And the second one is the new product on top of driving behavior really work in Taiwan. And I think over the world, this kind of data is pretty useful. Also, you can make a lot of money if you can just make this driving behavior into some assets. So we can see that coming, and I think it's still on the trends. So we are trying to figure out how we can just provide these kind of services to all the drivers out there. Maybe it's an electric vehicle or it's like a gas vehicle. They'll be totally fine. They don't matter. But we're trying to do the experiment on top of electric vehicles. And the last one is to connect non-financial partners. Like we're the financial institutions, but we're trying to connect with like drivers, like the car manufacturers. So that's what we're trying to do. So there's the scenario. As you can see, maybe you just drive a Tesla, and of all time you're driving the Tesla, you are creating all the driving behavior. Once you can upload your driving data to your nodes, maybe there will be one node shared by maybe 1,000 drivers, because we couldn't require every Tesla driver to own a node. That's pretty expensive, and it's not the easiest things to do. At the same time, all the data will be encrypted all the time and hashed it, then put it on the blockchain nodes. So as you can see, Cathay nodes right now be synchronized the same data. Once the driver just want to require some services, they need some services or insurance or loan, or maybe he is trying to figure out what kind of new products need. Maybe he doesn't know that himself, but we can provide all the potential services to him. And the driving data right now that didn't encrypt at all. At this point, the driver can provide the data to Cathay. Maybe it's insurance company, maybe it's a bank, maybe it's a securities company. Then the operationist can put the data hashed and check if there is the same data on the blockchain. So we can just verify the authenticity. So at this point, the data we can just give them back to the drivers. We didn't care. Did he just fabricate or make some fake data before he just want to require some services? Because we have the verifying process on top of blockchain. That's our scope last year. We just make a portal. It's a live platform for Taiwan's Tesla drivers, and we have 4 main functionality, like the account management. The second one, the driver consent. That will be pretty important. before they just consent on sharing the data, we wouldn't take the data at all. And the third one is the behavior modeling. I think that's a core value of this platform. And the last one is the analysis report. So every driver can check their driving behavior. Uh, every day they can check that how they drove, yes, like yesterday. So we can give him a rating, a score. Then the score maybe could be some factor, or that's an advantage after he just want to apply a loan or buy purchase a cheaper insurance. And the roadmap is like this: infrastructure with leading technology. I think that's all we're doing right now, as you guys do. And cultivate groups talent pool, and there'll be some kind of our group's goal. It's not only about the consortium blockchain or public blockchain. We are trying to cultivate our financial group's talent pool on top of all these consortium blockchain. The third one is really important because it's highly related to the pitch contest. Because we just want to collaborate with you guys overseas and all the global partners, all the data hub and ecosystem. You can provide maybe like decentralized application, or maybe you can provide some sort of new blockchain, the infrastructure. We're all welcome, because that's the only thing we can do it to make it bigger. Okay, the important part is this. I think the caption, the title of this pitch contest is all about Web3. And we're defining the Web3 sector like this: 6 parts, like the game, like a payment, NFT, tokenomics, digital assets, and the DeFi. But we have to emphasize that the blockchain is not a necessary factor in metaverse, but in Web3's world, right now the core technology is all about blockchain. But we're trying to figure out some kind of a new technology that's not blockchain, but we can just implement it, execute all the Web3 business scenario, like the cryptography, like the consensus technology. Maybe it's not about we chain the data from block to blocks. We don't have to do that, but we can still accomplish all the decentralized scenario and process in the Web3 world. So as you can see the left part, there's one saying, blockchain versus Web3. I think blockchain is included in Web3, but Web3 is not only about blockchain. So maybe you guys can figure out some kind of new technology or new products you can provide it in your pitch contest. Then it's not, you don't have to just make it like only on focusing on financial services. Maybe some non-financial services is things we need. And the composition of the Web3, we just want to make it like an architecture to explain to you guys. The upper layer, the application, like the wallet, why we just mark it with the red color is that's what we're trying to do, and we're actually planning and implementing. The wallet, like the MetaMask, that would be a open source tool out there. But with our financial services customers, maybe they just want some kind of tool provided by a financial institution. They got some insurance, they got some guarantee, they got some warrant, and we're totally happy to do that for our customers. And the second one is the service, like the NFT platform, trading platform, or the Uniswap financing platform. And the third one is the infrastructure, like the data warehouse, like the security reviewing tool, and the last one, the protocol. Maybe you can just figure out what kind of blockchain. Maybe it's a hybrid way. It's an off-chain and on-chain process to mixed up or collaborate with each other. The other one is the cross-chain interoperability is what we're doing right now. There are a lot of protocols out there like Chainlink, like a Polkadot, like Cosmos. They have some advantages and disadvantages. So we're trying to figure out what kind of scenario is a better fit. So I just running very quick and go through all the things we're trying to explain and we're trying to share with you because maybe there are some inspiration for you guys to do the pitch to make the pitch deck, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have any. So let me see. Okay, like uh, there's a question. Okay, hold on. Okay, that would be a really good question because Private ledger fabric, especially we're doing things on top of fabric. There is a new, there's a very useful function, a very convenient function called channel. I believe you guys know that. The channel function is pretty important for us because, for example, like the bank consortium, we right now have 7 banks onboarding on top of our blockchain, but maybe, maybe 1 year later, there are 3 banks out of the 7 banks that want to do the mutual business, but the other 4 wouldn't do that. So we need to make a new channel, just like make a new blockchain to do that. So the default functionality on top of a fabric is there. The channel is there, and I know like R3 Corda is right now having some new functionalities, the same as the channel, but back to the 2 years ago, I think the fabric channel functionality is pretty convenient for us. It's pretty useful. So that we do a lot of dirty works on that, and we just figure out so many solutions. Right now, we're pretty good at it. So that's why we're choosing Hyperledger Fabric. Yeah, that would be a very good
Nicholas,
question.
yeah, if you don't mind
Yeah,
me asking a follow-up question. So my question is actually a little bit more, it's a little bit more practical and more direct. Okay, it's a
sure.
little blunt. Okay, so what we're going to show you is a way to tokenize digital assets,
Mhm.
uh, based on asset-backed security issue or some common jurisdiction, like for instance Hong Kong, Singapore, or Luxembourg, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Mhm.
the issue why we are kind of picking R3, at least for the time being, is that because we're working with HKMA on the other side, which is
Mhm.
they chose R3 in the first place, right? So my
Mhm.
question is, I mean, I don't necessarily think that we need to choose R3 because the technology we're using, like a lot of it has to do with like how do we make it T+0 settlement. All that stuff that we're like, for instance, the golden what we call the golden token, et cetera, et cetera. All that stuff should work on both Hyperledger and R3. It's just that right now, for the time being, for whatever reason, HKMA has decided to fund an R3 quarter center at Cyberport in Hong Kong, and which, as a result, because they are the kind of use case on the other side, right? So, which
Mhm.
is why we kind of at least the initial use case we want to it may be on R3, okay? So I'm just kind
Mhm.
of curious. It's like, are you guys so religious about Hyperledger? Because I mean, we can change. It's not a problem. But I just don't want to present something that is actually going to confuse people. People will be like,
Mhm.
oh, all of a sudden, why are these guys talking about Alfred, right? Or are
Okay.
you guys relatively open-minded? Depends on okay, the specific use case, how the what technology make more sense, etc., etc.
Right. We're pretty open to any kinds of blockchain and any kinds of technology. But at the very first stage, we're thinking about Hyperledger Fabric. It's all because of the channel functionality. And R3 Corridor is one of our options. And I think Corda, the R3, the consortium, the alliance, have once said the R3 is not a blockchain technology. It's kind of a peer-to-peer technology. But it's very useful for financial services because it's good at like encrypting and good at like a private process, private mechanism. So we're pretty open. We're not trying to do all the things on top of only Hyperledger Fabric. For example, right now we're experimenting some new scenario on top of Quorum blockchain,
Mhm.
and R3 is one of our options of all time.
Okay, all right. I think we'll make the note that we are flexible, but I mean, I'm just kind of, at least for the time being, we are stating the fact because the problem is not just HKMA. BIS is also using R3 because
Okay.
350 financial institution has already approved that. So it's kind of like, when you're talking about CBDC settlement, you have to, I mean, there's certain mechanism that they're actually very good at dealing with. I mean, I think it's just similar to your use case. So I think what we can do is just basically say, yeah, we're open-minded, but it's kind of like at least just say that this is the kind of state of the world, and then we kind of take it from there.
Right, right. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Your supplement and your explanation. Yeah, that'll be better for everybody to know. We're pretty open to any kinds of blockchain.
All right, thank you.
And yeah, thanks. And the second question from Deep, commercial insurance. Yeah, I just saw your deck, and that's why we're picking the company, your company. I think it's a pretty legit business model, and what we're trying to do is to mix up your business your business scenario, your product into our blockchain. And yeah, I look forward to it when the demo day or the pitch day. All the decks we're trying to reviewing is pretty legit. Right now, we're thinking about not only financial services. So we're trying to do all the things mixed up with the non-financial services and the industry. So we can just serve all the people out there, because maybe not everybody's want financial services at the very first stage. And yeah, I don't know if I just answered the Deep's question, but if you want to add something, yeah, please do that. I would love to listen.
Do you want to explain or share more about what you guys are doing or with Nicholas? Because now it's a ask Nicholas anything session. So you know what? Don't be shy. Because basically Nicholas will be one of the judges during the pitch competition. So I think don't be shy to ask any questions, and then yeah, feel free to ask anything. But if there's no running questions at the moment, speaking of the insurance, that we talked about for the, what Deep was sharing with, Nicholas, could you share with us what you think? Why did you guys start doing this blockchain in Cathay, and then how what potential did you see in this, and then how did this all start? Because I know you started quite earlier than other banks in Taiwan or other corporations in Taiwan, so I think you must have saw something like a great potential, right? I think you could share with us.
Okay, sure, no problem. I would love to do that. And I think Cathay Financial Holdings is pretty big. It's the biggest financial institution in Taiwan. But globally, maybe Cathay is not the big one, the tier one. And what we're trying to do is to connect with the global partners with some kind of mechanism or some kind of collaboration and opportunities. I think the blockchain technology is the best practice to do that. From Taiwan and from Asia. Especially we develop all the things, we put so much efforts on the Southern East Asia, like for the past few years. And as I mentioned, like the AI technology, the deep learning technology, that would be pretty useful for only one institution of all time. But that can only just maybe optimize some business scenario and optimize some cost, optimize some mitigation, some risk. But once we just have to connect our business, maybe overseas, or maybe connect with our competitors, that'll be totally, I think that'll be totally useful for our thoughts and new ideas on top of a blockchain, because we're trying to solve the problem that competitors wouldn't share the data. That's the things we're trying to figure out. And I think the blockchain can do all the things, sharing the data with competitors or non-competitors or partners in a very convincing way. So I think blockchain technology can give us the advantage. But right now we're thinking of non-blockchain technology, but it's all included in Web3. So that's what we're trying to do. We just want to jump to another stage and the next level. And I think like the application I mentioned is the wallet. I think the core tool of the Web3 world is all about the wallet. Everybody should carry the wallet, and you can put all the data in your wallet. Then you can just make a use of it. You can make use of it yourself. You want to sell it, that will be totally okay. With the kind of wallet, you can do the things, or you can all the things you want. Yeah, so that's why we are trying to make so many things on top of a blockchain like 4 years ago. But at the first stage, we're just like a laboratory. You just follow up the newest, latest technology. But we're not trying to do the products by then. But after 1 year, I thought that would be total nonsense if we couldn't do our own product. That's why we can explain all the advantages to our group, to our competitors. And right now, we successfully just launched the platform. Especially, we just have the consent from our authorities, like the bank consortium. That's the first bank consortium in Taiwan. Also, we have the first property insurance consortium in Taiwan, because nobody just want to do that for other competitors. I think that would be a very significant milestone, but we're not trying to do all the charity thing. We provide all the technology for free to our competitors. But right now we're trying to make some new business scenario, new business model on top of our infrastructure that could benefit all of us. So that's that's the main reason we're doing this.
Thank you, Nicholas. It was very comprehensive, and I think, yeah, man, I think what you were doing is connecting people, around the world, right? Basically, making us closer. And yeah, thank you. Second of all, Nick, I want to ask you. I think since the main purpose of everybody attending here obviously is for the pitch contest. And for the pitch contest, is a chance or the possibility to work with you guys in the Cathay or in the blockchain realm, or actually in any general application for Cathay. So I want to ask you, so what do you think, working with Cathay, startups that want to work with Cathay, or, corporates in Taiwan, what do they need, what do they require? What do they need to do? And, what traits should they have when they want to approach corporates?
I think the latest technology is always the things we need, and all the things in terms of like security, because we provide the tools to our customers, or maybe to our corporate customer, corporate clients. Once we just do that, we have to be responsible for the things we provide to them. So like the security check-in, security reviewing tool, and some sort of very easy to use like application like web app, website, or the our mobile phone app. That'll be totally what we're needing right now, because we don't plan to do that on our own. But the security will be the first, and the very easy to use app is the second one. So, but that's not the only choice that all the pitch contests should focus on this territory. But in my opinion, I will be pretty. I will be convinced by all the security, checking tools. That's pretty fun, and they'll be useful for not only Cathay financial institutions, also for our competitors, because we're a group, we're a consortium. So all the securities level in the same consortium should be the same, should be achieving to the same level. So that's why we're needing that.
Thank you. Yeah, so everybody heard what Nicholas said. Take some notes because I think it's going to affect what's going to happen in the pitch contest. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, Nicholas, okay, so there's one thing that I also want to ask is, since everything is happening in, right now, basically our organization is Taipei Entrepreneurs Hub, right? So I want to ask you, what advantages do you think Taiwan or Taipei has, and what is unique about Taiwan, and why you should come to Taiwan, to start your business?
Okay. I think it's early stage. I mean, in terms of Web3, it's an early stage in Taiwan. And we don't have so many like Web3 or blockchain companies like United States or like Europe. So once you can step in this stage at this point, I think there will be great opportunity for you guys to expose yourself to all the Taiwan customers. And just like I said, Cathay Financial Holdings, we're trying to developing all the new stuff in Southeast Asia. So once we can have some collaborations, that's not only doing business in Taiwan, maybe in Vietnam, maybe in Cambodia or Singapore and Thailand, that would be totally one of our targets. So I think at this point, maybe you can provide a very great, very efficient applications for us. Then we can just promote it and collaborate with you guys. Then we can just get into the another business in other Southeast Asia countries.
Yeah, so basically using Taiwan as a hub to start the business and then eventually, I would say impact the world, right?
Right.
Yeah. I totally agree because
Yeah. And there's another thing. We do have some collaborations with the Chainlink. So there is maybe many people of you or your friends or partners know at the end of the September, Chainlink has an annual conference. It's called SmartCon, and I'll be giving a keynote speech in the SmartCon, and that will be the first time for us to introduce Cathay Financial Holdings, what we're trying to do on top of blockchain, and why we needed like a cross-chain interoperability functionality. So I think that would be pretty huge and for us because we're trying to get ourselves into the blockchain industry the first time. We're not trying to do all the things on our own in only our group. So we're trying to expand our collaboration to maybe like United States and Europe. So just so you know, maybe there will be more and more opportunities for you and our group to collaborate.
Yeah. I think everybody here is, wants to come up with you guys. So definitely check out what Nicola just said, the Chainlink conference in New York, right?
Right, in Europe.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, I think we covered most of what we wanted to talk about. Guys, don't be shy. Feel free to throw in some questions. But if there's no more running questions, Nick, I want to ask you, since we're almost at the end of today's session, I want to ask you one last question from my side, and was there anything important but wasn't mentioned in today's session, and what we would like to share with everyone?
I think what we're doing is totally all the content of my decks. The things that I didn't say is like I think the regulation part in Taiwan is pretty important. That matters at all. That matters the most. And if you guys can just figure out some maybe new mechanism or new technology, but right now it's also it is still restricted by our government. That would be totally okay. If you have such a sense of maybe breaking through all the restriction on regulations, that would be very worth to talk to each other, because the things we're doing, like the wallet, like the consortium blockchain, is only like a example, the model. Once we just achieve the model, we successfully implement all the mechanism. The important thing we're trying to do is to break through the regulations with the government. We talk to them, we collaborate with them. They maybe have some requirements from us. We can totally provide all the new technology to them, then break through all the restriction. So I think that would be pretty important if you guys have some kind of new ideas about regulations. Yeah, it's pretty welcome.
Nicholas,
Yeah, sorry.
is it fair to
Okay.
say that if we have a particular proposal that we have actually cleared with Japan's FSA and also with other sort of regulators, but we know, at least for the time being, it's not completely clear in Taiwan yet, but we know it's clear somewhere else. So then I think are you telling us that what Cathay Financial is willing to do is kind of work with us, bring that technology to Taiwan, do a showcase, and then go to the central bank and just say, hey, if this is already approved in Japan by FSA, and then we actually we actually work through Anderson Mori, which is the second largest security law firm in Japan, then we can have a similar conversation. We can try to have a similar conversation with the Bank of Taiwan.
Right, absolutely. That's the exactly things we are trying to collaborate, and we're trying to have in right now at this point. Totally.
Okay, great. Because we didn't put any of these stuff on the initial deck that we submit, simply because we thought it would be confusing everyone. But if that's where you guys are going with, then I think we have a pretty clear idea of how we are going to tweak the pitch, just so that it's very clear what we are suggesting.
Okay, thank you. That would be great if you can share that with us.
Great.